Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, 6:30 p.m. It is April 12th. We're going to get started. For those of you guys don't know, my name is Vincent.Saravia. My NMLS is 2285390. I am powered by Next Mortgage. Let's go ahead and get started with who I am. Who am I? And basically, I started in the mortgage industry in 2022. And I'm currently level 2 candidate in the CFA program. And essentially, I help veterans achieve their dreams of home ownership without all the headaches and pain that most experience during the loan process, so that they can finally stop paying rent and start accumulating wealth. And what do I offer? As a mortgage broker, I can help you with any case-by-case scenario. But today, I'm just going to be focusing on the Veteran Affairs loan program. And I can originate loans in 13 states, and essentially, including the DMV, and these are the states where I am licensed to originate loans. And what I offer to you today is a one-stop shop with over 50 lenders that can originate the Veterans Affairs loan program. And I have real estate agents for referrals. And lastly, my support throughout the whole process, beginning to end. Hey, Michael, how are you? Well, as well. And essentially, we're going to head and get started with my presentation. And here we go.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Vincent.Saravia here. Welcome to your free VA Home Loans Benefits webinar. Thank you in advance for taking the time to watch this class. My goal here is by the end of this presentation, everybody to have a much better understanding of the VA home loan and its benefits, and how much of a great product this is if you're looking to buy a home or refinance a home. So we're going to cover a little history of the VA loan, when it started, who is eligible, how does it work, what are some of the myths and misconceptions out there as it pertains to the VA loan, and why someone who would want to take advantage of this product. Let's go ahead and get started with history. The VA home loan guarantee started in 1944 during the World War II. It was a way for the government to give back returning service members an opportunity to purchase a home with no money down and back then no credit score. Fast forward today, 70 plus years later, and the VA loan still offers opportunity to purchase a home with no money down. The difference is that now you need a credit score. So here's a myth or misconception that I get this question asked all the time. Is the VA loan issued? And no, they do not. VA insures a loan, and even in the guidelines the VA provides us there's no credit score requirement. The requirement comes from the bank or the lending institution. So lender's going to issue the loan. They're going to give you the mortgage to buy. The VA is going to insure that loan. So write this down. Most banks right now, most direct lenders and mortgage companies out there have an average credit score requirement of 620. So if you're going to buy and use a VA loan, or you currently own a home and you want to refinance with your VA loan, you're going to need at least a minimum of 620 on average. So what I recommend all my clients do is after 190 to 120 days, get a copy of your credit report. Make sure there's no false items on there. And what are you making that are making your credit score go down as opposed to going up? There's a lot of services, a lot of companies out there that provide services for free. They'll provide your credit report. And again, I recommend every 90 to 120 days to pull it, have a copy of it, and make sure that credit score is going up. So 620 is the minimum for most lenders. I myself can qualify you at 550, 580. My rule of thumb is for my clients and family members and my referral partners to try to get this score to 720 or higher. It makes it a lot easier, not only when you're buying home, any kind of loan that you're using, but right now with insurance, credit scores are relevant more than ever. Okay, so there's a little bit quick history of the VA loan. So who is eligible? So if you're in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or Coast Guard, and you serve 90 days during the wartime, and the dates here on the veteran, the dates here on the screen, we have the World War II, we have the Korean War, we have the Vietnam War, and the Persian Gulf War currently. If you serve 90 days during wartime and your discharge is anything but a dishonorable discharge, you are eligible for a VA loan. Now, if you serve during a peacetime, and here are the dates here during peacetime, as long as you serve 181 days continuous days, you again could be eligible for a VA loan. And I'll cover in the next slide coming up exactly how to confirm the eligibility for you. Another great branch or great service that are offered here is the reserves and the National Guard. As long as you have 6 years of active duty in the reserves and National Guard, you have eligibility to use your VA loan. Now, this is new. If you go pre-1993 or before 1993, you weren't eligible as a reserve or National Guard to use your VA loan. Congress grandfathered everybody in after 1993. So now everybody, as long as you have 6 years of continuous duty, you can be eligible for a VA loan. Now, how do we find out and confirm that information? Is with this form right here. It's called the Certificate of Eligibility, or Form 26-1880. And you have a couple options here. You can fill this out yourself and mail it to the regional loan center right here in Decatur, Georgia, and then wait for it to come back. Typically, they'll send it back in 4 to 8 weeks. Hopefully, it comes back complete or better. My advice is to use a lender like myself, and my team, or somebody who's VA approved, especially VA loans. And they get you confirmation of VA eligibility within a couple of minutes. That's called the Certificate of Eligibility. Let's talk about who can finance and use a VA loan. So there's only 3 options on who can finance and use your VA loan. Option number 1 is a veteran. So somebody who's either active duty or veteran by himself or herself can use a VA loan. And somebody who's married to a veteran that is married can use a VA loan, and a veteran can also use a VA loan. So father, served son has served, they want to buy a home together. They can use their VA loan. A veteran and a non-veteran, or veteran who's not a spouse, like a boyfriend, girlfriend, that's not veteran, you cannot purchase, and you can use your VA loan together. Here's another thing that I get asked a lot. Who could finance cover that now, and how can you finance it, and what can you finance it for? It must be owner occupied. So I'm going to cover this a little bit more here real quick. And some points I have. So number one is you have to buy the property as your primary residence. You have to you have to move in as you're going to be living in the property as a primary. So it has to be owner occupied. Now right here, this sentence right here, and I'll cover this later, some advanced tactics, is only if you need to live in the property for 1 year. After you live in the property 1 full year, you can convert it into a rental. You can then rent it out. You can obviously sell it whenever you want, but you can rent it out and you can now start using this product. I'll cover this again in slides later as an advanced tactic to build wealth. But what that means is that you can buy a property as a primary residence, owner occupied, with no money down. Leaving it for a year longer, let's say 2 or 3 years later, you decide you want to move or you get relocated. If you're active duty, you can turn that into a rental. Now you have a property that's being rented out and you can build wealth. I love this tactic. I'll cover more about this in the slides coming up. But what can be financed? The property has to be in good condition. No tear downs or fixer uppers. If there's anything wrong with the property, like the carpet's torn up, or the food can't fall on it, or there's shattered glass, or there's structural damage and has to be taken care of, then that has to be fixed before the loan closes. The Department of Veterans Affairs is really big on safety and health code issues, so it has to be in good conditions. And any permits or any remodels have to be completely permanent. All improvements must be documented. So the next slide, if we can find that the condos are okay as long as they're on the VA approved list. There's a VA approved portal or site they can go on and research to make sure before you look at condos. And if you're just making an offer, if you're a potential new homeowner, you want to confirm ahead of time that it is VA approved. And if you need our help, you can ask me directly, and I can help you with that. Why use a VA loan? So here's some of the benefits of why somebody would use a VA loan. Number one's benefit, in my opinion, the biggest one, no down payment. It's pretty much the only product available. There's another product called the USDA, which is for rural areas specifically. But other than that, this is the only product available that you could purchase a property with no money down, up to the county limit. So in the DMV, the county limit, DC, Maryland, Virginia, the county limit can range from different counties. But right now, the county limit is roughly around $1 million or less, which means if you bought a property, the purchase price was a number lower, you could buy that property with no money down. There's the formula used if you want to buy the property above the purchase price, and still a lot lower as far as down payment requirement than every other loan that's available right now. Another great benefit is no private mortgage insurance. So anytime you buy a property and you need mortgage, you're putting less than 20% down. So conventional loan, we're going to have less than 20% down, or even FHA loan, which the minimum requirement is 3.5%. And there's always going to be what's called private mortgage insurance or PMI. With the VA, there's no private mortgage insurance. It's an amazing benefit. Those were the top 2 benefits right there. Another big benefit is closing costs can be borrowed. You could get a gift of closing. You could borrow them against your 401k. There's a lot of creativity and a lot of flexibility as it pertains to closing costs and how you're going to be paid. The seller could pay your closing costs. The lender could pay your closing costs. Great benefits with this product. Another one or a few of them, like I'll cover this one in detail in our next slide, is the funding. So what is the funding fee? So the one-time fee paid to the VA, and there's ways where actually we can avoid this fee, credit requirements and income requirements. When you compare the VA loans to conventional FHA, I believe the VA gives you the most flexibility in regards to requirements and being able to get approved for this loan. And we can also have a great jumbo loan. If you can afford and want to buy a home, you could go all the way up to 1.5 million on a VA loan. Probably one of the best jumbo loans out there. When you compare it to interest rates and down payment requirements, it's a great option. A great benefit of the VA loan is that sometimes the interest rates, the market pertains to the market dictates. And anytime the rate's lower to 0.25% or 0.5% lower than what you currently have, if you own a home, you have a VA loan, you can do what's called a streamline refinance. It's called a VA EARL, interest rate reduction refinance loan. And this is unlimited times you can use it. As long as it's a benefit to you, as long as you're able to reduce your interest by 1/4 to 0.5%, it's a great time to use it. You can also go cash out refinance. And if you own a property now, you have a VA loan, you can refinance and pull some cash out and pay debts, invest in the stock market, buy another property. If you have a conventional loan right now, you can always refinance into a VA loan and have your VA eligibility. So another great benefit right here. Let's talk a little bit about some myths that I see out there as it pertains to loans. And this is from a consumer, the potential homeowner, the current homeowner, and also the real estate professional out there. We got a lot of myths out there. I want to just cover it real briefly. So one of them is I can only use my VA for my first home. That used to be the case. But your VA loan can only be used one time, and then that was it. That's not the case anymore. The VA loan, if it's paid off, you can use it again, and it never expires. But it's a great benefit to use it once you own a home. You sell a home. You can also use it again. Use it once you refinance the home into a conventional loan. Because you have enough equity, you can get your VA retirement back if you use it again. So it never expires. I get all the time as a seller. So as the buyer now telling you this, the seller won't accept my offer because they have to pay points. This is not accurate. Nowhere in the VA handbook does they require the seller to pay any of the closing costs for the borrower. The seller could pay the closing costs if he or she wanted to. The lender could pay the agent, can pay anybody can really pay for the closing costs. So that's a myth, a misconception out there that I get a lot. I can only buy a house up to $240,000. That used to be the old benefit, which was the old limit. That's not the limit anymore. Again, in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, the limit is now 1,089,300. In other areas of the country and other counties, the kind of limit is either higher or lower. So what I recommend is when you're looking to purchase a home, find out what county you're in and find out what the county limit is. And then find out, could you have a better understanding, obviously, of how much money or how much of a purchase price you can go up to with no money down. Another one I get a lot is spouse's income can't be used to qualify for the home. That's not accurate. If your spouse is working and she has a stable job in the same line of work for at least 2 years, we need her income. We can use that to help qualify for the loan. This is a good one right now. This is actually a great benefit. I can't allow someone to assume a loan if you're not a veteran. That is false. One of the benefits of the VA loan is that it's an assumable loan. So if you purchase a home today, you use your VA loan and the interest rate was 3.75. And 5 years later, you're looking to sell your home and the interest rate is 5 or 6%. You can actually sell a home to somebody and they can assume your loan and your interest rate. So great benefit to anyone who has creditworthy and can assume a Virginia VA loan. They don't have to be a veteran. However, they do keep part of the veteran's eligibility, which is something you want to get confirmation on, and I could explain in more detail in person. Here's another myth that I get a lot. There's always a funding fee, no matter what. That's actually false. In slides coming up, here explain how we can avoid a funding fee or how we can reduce the funding in action. I'll also explain what the funding fee is. If the veteran has a qualified VA disability of at least 10% more, they're exempt from the funding fee forever. And again, I'll explain a little bit more in detail in slides coming up. My down payment doesn't affect the funding fee. This is not true. That's false. If you put at least 5% down, your funding fee gets reduced. And I'll show you a graph here shortly of what that means. I don't have 2 years of service eligibility, so I won't be eligible for a VA loan. That is not accurate. That is false. There are a number of situations that less than 2 years eligibility isn't required or is. Okay. Early discharge, medical discharge, a lot of reasons of how that can be worked. So that's actually a false one as well. I get this all the time. So let's talk about what the funding fee is right now. So the funding fee is actually what's kept this program going for so many years. And depending on how much money you put down, this is this one-time fee you pay the VA through the loans. There's not an out-of-pocket expense. It gets rolled into your loan. But if you are entitled to 10% disability or more, the funding fee is waived forever. So that's the number one. Now, if you're not entitled to 10% disability or you're entitled to no disability at all, this graph you want to look at, this is valid as an example through November 14, 2031. So if you're not putting any money down and this is your first VA loan, you're purchasing a home for 2.15%. Well, the purchase price gets rolled into your loan. Now, if you're using your VA loan for the second time beyond that and you're not putting any money down, that goes to 3.3%. And if you're putting 5% down, it gets lowered. Actually, here it gets lowered by more than 0.5%. Your second or third time. So I recommend if you're using a VA loan again and you've used it before, I recommend putting at least 5% down because it cuts your funding fee by 1.8. It's a big amount, and then 10% down gets lowered again. And if you're in the reserves or National Guard, same idea. There is a percentage shift for the funding fee. Now, remember, if you're inside the 10% disability or more, there is no funding fee. Now, let's talk about the BHA, the BAH. This is something very popular, especially in San Diego, whenever there's a military installation and active duty military family. So the BA, which stands for Basic Allowance for Housing, is valuable as it's tax-free money. The government's giving you tax-free money. Here's a graph I put together just to give you an illustration of this, and just an example for illustration purposes. Essentially, what could you do if you were an active duty and you had a 25-year career in the military, starting from E2 to E8? If you look at this money, this is per month. This is a tax-free money that the government's going to give you to use to purchase a home, and then you can write off your taxes on the interest that you're paying. I mean, if it's one of the most amazing benefits that the VA has. And if you're an active duty, you're getting this BAH, and you can use it to rent. You can use it to live on base. You cannot use it to live on base, or you can use it to buy property and build well. It's a tax-free money, so I think it's very important that people have a better understanding of it. This is a graph that shows what 25-year period you can accumulate. This is 630,000. And change that and you accumulate almost 800,000 gross tax income that you can use or could have used to purchase a home. And then remember what I said, as long as you live in it for 1 year, you can then turn it into a rental. So great benefit. The BAH, what will you do with your BAH entitlement? There's plenty of things you can do. Honestly, for starters, buy a home, build equity, build wealth, get a tax break. Potentially, if you're active duty, a lot of people don't purchase a home. You know why most don't active duty personnel purchase here near Occoquan or in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area? They feel like they're going to be living elsewhere. They're going to get their orders and they're going to get stationed somewhere else. But again, like I told you guys in the beginning, if you buy a home and you live it for 1 year, then you can turn it into a rental. And you can have a property management company take it over for you while you're getting stationed in another area of the country. So it's an amazing benefit. If okay, I get this asked a lot too. What if my house never goes up in value? Should I still buy a house? Well, you got to live somewhere else. And the answer to that question is yes. With rent goes up, and there's no tax benefits. There's no ownership benefits at all. There's no equity with the purchasing of a home. There's equity with purchasing. Your payment stays the same. Typical loans of 30 years are fixed, so payment never adjusts. You can get a tax break that benefits for as long as you own the home. Your equity built up in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area specifically, on average, appreciates in the last 30 years is almost 6.5%. And with a few bad markets that we had here in the past, 10 years, the average is still about 6.2%. And you own a house, you can rent it to somebody else and have them pay for your mortgage. And you can eventually sell it and then benefit from the equity that you're going to gain from it. So let's talk about what are the steps to successful VA closing. This is not the point where you decide, yes, I am in a position where I know I have a VA eligibility and I want to go out there and I want to potentially buy a home. So the number one thing you need to do is you need to find yourself a great lending team, somebody who specializes in VA loan, somebody you obviously like and trust, has tremendous amount of knowledge of the VA loan, the benefits that comes with it. So the number one dedicated VA lending team here in the DMV, we specialize in VA loans. We've done a lot of them. We know how to work a loan, how to get it from the start line to the finish line the fastest way possible with the least amount of headaches, and we love it. So that's number one. Find a great lending team. Number two is get yourself pre-approved. And there's a difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval. Or pre-qualification, it's just an informal conversation. You're having with somebody, no obligation. You're telling them how much money you're making. You're telling them how much debt you have, and the conversation is going back and forth.
Yeah,
they come up with purchase. Right, in the loan amount. It's not what you want to have. You want to have a formal pre-approval, which doesn't cost anything. That doesn't obligate you. To the loan. There's no fee for it. But what it does is it gives you an accurate number of what your fully purchasing power is and what the benefits are. You'll know exactly how much you can afford. Or you can shop for a home. You want to have a comfort zone in mind. You want to have a number of what that number is in your monthly payment and that you're making, because when you buy a home, you have your mortgage payment, your property taxes, your HOA fees, and all that combined together as your monthly payment, and you want to be comfortable with that payment. You'll know what your monthly payment is, so you know what your comfort zone is, you know what your total investment is. Now there's no down payment for a VA loan up to the county limit, but if you go over to the county limit, there's quality cost, there's investment that you need to make for what we will call cash to close. So you want to know what that is ahead of time. Seller will definitely take your offers way more serious when you're fully approved from a reputable company who specializes in VA loans. And then you can make an offer as soon as you find the home you want, and there you go. Now here's something that I want everybody to pay attention. Write this down. When I mentioned your comfort zone, all this potentially could be included in that payment. So you have your mortgage payment, which is principal interest, you have your homeowner's insurance, you have your HOA dues, potentially, depending on what part of the country you're in, mortgage insurance, this does not. You don't have to worry about this for a VA loan. But if you weren't doing a VA loan and you were putting less than 20% down, or if it was an FHA loan, you have mortgage insurance. And then you have your property taxes. All these are going to be included in your monthly payment. So when you're doing your comfort zone, make sure that you have a payment that you're comfortable with, because all this is going to be included. Some of the documents you're going to be asked for that pertain to application submission are going to be your bank statements for this couple of months, the current ones. You didn't get your last year tax returns, your last 2 years pay stubs. And if you're active duty, you went through bankruptcy, if you went through a divorce, we're going to need all that documentation. So just be prepared. You don't have to get all these documents again. What's applicable to your situation, we'll run a credit score. As a lender, make sure that the credit report, like I told you from the beginning, is at least 620 or at least 580 or 550 or even down to 500. We can still get this done for you. We'll do a VA analysis and make sure we get a computer approval, which in our world is kind of like a DLP approval. Then the next step is finding a very, very good professional real estate agent that knows the market, knows the VA loan just as well as your lender. And we have quite a few real estate professionals that we partner up with and we can refer you to you. So you find a real estate agent and he or she will make an offer on the property on your behalf. After that, we'll be going back and forth, ping pong, until you guys come up with an accepted price. The seller accepts your offer. You can now have what's called a fully executed purchase contract, and then escrow period, typically about 30 days. So we will then start your loan application. So day one, we see your purchase contract. We order the appraisal, and we get started with your loan application. After the application, with all your paperwork goes to process, and the appraisal has already been ordered. Typically takes about 5 to 10 days for calendar days for the appraisal to come back, and then it goes back to process to get reviewed, and then it goes into underwriting department. Once the appraisal comes back, we have to confirm that the value of the property is the purchase price. If the property that comes lower than your purchase price, the VA will not insure the loan. So the transaction will have to be renegotiated, and the purchase price will have to be lowered, or you as a consumer or potential homeowner will have to come up with a difference, or you and the seller somehow will have to meet in the middle and divide it between the two of you. Or the fourth option would be to cancel escrow. But we have to confirm the appraisal comes in. Once it comes in at value, we're then moving along. We get the full approval from underwriting our home stretch. After the full approval from underwriting comes in, typically we have conditions that we have to meet through title and escrow. Sometimes our clients involved, sometimes our agents are involved. We get those conditions and clear, and then goes prepared for the official signing in escrow. Our closing is scheduled. An appointment is made from an escrow officer with you, the potential owner. You sign your documents. And typically, we will sign for the next day and record that, and you will get the keys to your home. This transaction from start to finish, from the day you purchase accepted to the day you get the keys, typically happens in less than 30 days. The average, I would say, is about 30 calendar days. 30 days is typically what we're seeing out there. And then congratulations, you are officially a homeowner. Bring out the champagne and the confetti. And great times, and that will cover it. So any question about anything covered today on any of these slides, what you could do is you could go to my website and my website, Vincent.Saravia.com, fill out our contact form, and then put your questions there and send them to me. I will then personally respond in 24 hours or less. And I appreciate everybody taking this time to watch this. Please help us spread the word. There are a lot of veterans and active military families that I would love to educate on the benefits of the VA loan. So please do us a favor, help us spread the word. This is going to conclude our VA class for today. If you found great value from the content I shared, and if you need any additional information, like I said, or have any questions, please visit my website and email me or text or call me, whatever is easier for you. And my direct number is 703-810-7499. And if not, you can always register with the Zoom link 859-0938-4608. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this class, and God bless and take care. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Yeah. And that basically summarizes my VA presentation. The only reason, Deborah, I made it twice the speed is because I believe both you and Michael are familiar with the product. And I would know your time is valuable. That's why I put it in twice the speed. But if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please ask them right now or speak up. Yeah.
No, that was it. Because I know it was speedy, and I was like, oh, I wanted to make sure did you want to do that? No, I didn't have any questions. I mean, I'm very, yeah, I do 80-90% VA loans.
Yeah, I know. That's why. But
it's a good webinar. But I just wanted to make sure it wasn't the speed thing, because sometimes I know lately Zoom and iPhones been messing up, so that's why I asked that question. But you're good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. How about you, Michael? Any feedback from you?
I wish you would have told me it was twice the speed.
Oh, yeah, I thought I did. I told like Michael, I'm going to put this on twice the speed for you because I want to make sure like you're already familiar with the product.
No, it just because I know you, I stayed on, but I was the first thing I wrote was talking too fast. The second thing I wrote was the volume skipping in and out. The third thing I wrote was your phone number at the end. I thought that was your presentation. I'm like, gosh, I got to tell this guy he is talking way too fast. So I did not know that was. So I'm glad somebody else picked up on it, but no, I did not. Good. I'm glad you don't talk that fast.
No. I put that twice the speed because I knew both of you guys were educated on the product, and I just wanted to basically just show you exactly what I'm doing now going forward. And that's basically the whole presentation, to be honest with you.
Okay, no, that's fine. I mean, how long does the normal presentation take? A half hour? 45 minutes?
27 minutes and 29 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it sounded very, very good. Very
Provided
it was so fast I couldn't understand all of it, but now I got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I sent him a message. I said, do you want the webinar to go this fast? And then that's why, because yeah.
I apologize.
I appreciate that, Vincent, that you were considering our time. Yeah, I mean, you got it in a short, definitely don't need to go longer than that, than 27 minutes, especially if you're going to be, putting it out to your clients, that's interested or don't know about VA, who may have it. Believe it or not, there are many that have VAs that don't know what the value, but there are also agents that don't know the value of taking a VA loan too. On behalf,
That is super true. And one thing that you guys can do is, within 48 hours, you guys will get a recording of this, and you guys can put the video on half speed. That way, you'll see what it looks like normally. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that'd be fine, because I'd love to, listen to more of the details, even though I'm familiar with it. I think you might be pleasantly surprised at how few veterans don't know the benefits. I mean, it's
I agree.
It's almost shattering. So this could actually be a very good educational piece not just for people who are in the process, for people who maybe have veterans that might need help, whether it's parents, grandparents, whatever.
I agree.
And,
Oh,
and
thank you.
I'm sorry if I missed the introduction of the lady that you've got a nice photo and a great smile, but I didn't hear your first name.
Oh, my name's Deborah.
Hi, Deborah. I'm Michael.
I'm Mr. Michael. I looked down and I was eating. I'm like, God, it's 6:30, but no, I'm here to support Vince, and he asked me to come and watch it. I just was like you. I came in a little bit late, and I was like, oh wait a minute, this thing is going fast, and I was trying to get on, and I don't know. See, like now, is my photo showing?
It is not, no.
Okay, see my phone messing up. Okay. Yeah, see, phones are messing. I don't know what's going on with phone. Resume.
But
Continue.
Deborah, oh, there you are. Now I see you in real life.
Yeah,
hi,
it's
Deborah.
my phone and stuff is messed up. This
Okay.
iPhone.
May I ask, Deborah, what you do? Because I heard you say you do 80 to 90% VA loans.
Yeah, I do real estate agent, but yeah, pretty much I do a lot of VA. My husband's retired military, and so our company,
Congratulations.
yeah, I mean, thank you. And so a lot of military. So yes, I definitely am definitely for the VA. And I agree, there's so many that don't even know. Some of them don't even know that once they use it once, they can use it again, as long as they got, benefit on it.
Right.
And
Right.
just the cost. And then too, the new pricing starting out actually next week. Should be
Right.
next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
The pricing.
Was your husband in the Army?
Yes, he was.
Oh, great.
Retired. Yep.
Tell him thank you. I was a pilot in the Air Force for 5 years.
Well,
So I
thank you for
appreciate.
well,
Yeah,
thank you
yeah, it's
for
kind of
your
fun.
service.
Thank
I
you.
did too. Yeah, I miss it, but been here in Virginia we were just talking about that, 10 years.
So are you licensed in Virginia, DC, and Maryland?
Just Virginia and DC and North Carolina.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Started off in North Carolina, Fort Bragg.
Gotcha. Yeah. I've heard about that little country
Yep.
club down there.
So, Mr. Mike, where are you from? Are you in this area?
Yeah, you can just call me Michael. The Mister just makes me feel old, especially when I'm talking to beautiful women. So
Thank you.
Michael's fine. No, I'm in Maryland. I actually just moved out of Baltimore County, just about a half hour north. But we're right on the top of the Chesapeake Bay, and in a great little community, rural county. So it's nice, but we're probably half an hour from Baltimore.
Okay, got you. Well, that area is very popping, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Baltimore is.
yeah. That's right. I have clients in all 50 states. In fact, that's where we've been catching up, trying to see how I can help Vincent, and we got talking about a number of different things. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I was telling him, I said, you need to start getting on, if you're a social media person, you need to be in every kind of group. Sometimes it's not even just saying what making a note of what you do, but later on communicating. And some of those groups, you will get the opportunity because there's always somebody, oh, does anybody know a lender or something? So I told him, I said, you need to go on there and join as many groups as possible. And, it's not about selling, it's just interacting. Because I'm in some groups and sometimes they'll say, hey, I need an agent. But if I know 7 or 8 are there, I'm not going to even try to compete with that. I just said, and then the ones I feel comfortable, I'm like, hey, I'm in this area, and you go from there. But I think it's important.
That's cool. Yeah, that's very nice. Good information to give him.
Yeah.
So who are some of the primary clients that you work with?
You, as far as clients? Oh,
yeah.
Well, you know what? You mean as far as military?
No. When you're looking at your real estate world, even though you do a lot of VA loans, who are the primary top 3 clients that you work for?
Ooh, I have so many because I'm such a social butterfly. I do one thing about military. If you take care of them, it's just like, if you move
Yep.
into an area, your first thing is, hey, can you refer me a dentist, or can you refer me that? So a lot of my clients, I have that refer me a lot of clients because I believe in taking care of them, and so they refer me. So I would say referral clients is probably my best thing. And at one point when our company, was involved with USAA, I was a preferred agent there. So those clients that I've harnessed over the years, that after 2 years, they became mine. And just once again, it's a cycle. They become your clients and they introduce you to their friends and family. And so at this part of my stage, I do a lot of I would say, SOIs, or,
Right.
referrals.
Yeah, and I've been with USA for decades, so a great organization. That's quite an accomplishment to become a preferred agent with USAA. So
Yeah,
you've,
and
you've been
I'm
doing
one with,
this a while.
yeah, and then I'm one, and so I know the part about social, the part of how you interact with the military. Plus, I always laugh. My husband been with USA longer than he's been with me, because they've always got in there young. I mean, now that's probably not one of their strong areas as far as mortgage, but their strong area is definitely auto insurance, stuff
Right.
like that. So, but I think they're going back to that. But on the
Yeah,
flip
they are.
side, Navy Federal, I do, but once again, I try to build relationships with people. So I would say that's my number one thing. And then two, because my company is part of the relocation, the other second would be relocation. When I first started, it was probably relocation. SOIs were low on the thing, but all I remember saying is, if I harness and take care of these clients would no longer be relocation. They will be part of my family. And so that's
Gotcha.
what, harnessed. So I would say, and then from other social media, sometimes just building those relationships, I've gotten clients, referrals from other agents, and I don't mind taking care of other agents' clients.
Right.
So those would be my
Understand.
top three.
Understand. One of the reasons, and
I used to do Veterans United too. I used to be a preferred agent for Veterans United many years ago, because my friend told me about it. And that's when they were not even known as well. I mean, as well as they are now. I think they tried to take the spot of USA once they got out of it.
gotcha. Vincent doesn't know I'm saying this or going to say this, but I'm going to give you something if it's all right.
Yeah, please.
Have you ever heard of the concept of getting referrals without asking?
Probably he's referring that to you. Yeah, I have heard that, Michael.
No, Deborah, have you heard of that?
Yeah, because that's basically, I tried not, I mean, I'm a Buffini also, so I believe in service, because service will bring the client to you just like that. I mean, in a sense, so without, asking. I don't,
Well, no, that's not the
unless it's a
exact
different concept.
philosophy that I've developed. I've been doing this for about 32 years, and it's basically finding out who are your top three advisors that can introduce you, and start using that word versus referrals, even though they might be interchangeable. Sometimes referrals, if you ask for a referral and use that term, sometimes it's a negative term. So if you say introductions, but the best way to do it is to find out from your top three groups of people who are the advisors they work with. So for example, I use the term my ABCs in business. Whenever I get in front of a business owner, a farmer, or a rancher, those are my three primary groups.
Okay.
I always ask them, tell me a little bit more about your ABCs of business. Now, when you say ABCs, it sounds so simple. Everybody should know what I'm talking about. And I've yet to meet somebody who can tell me the exact 3 words I'm looking for. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but basically it means the advisors you're working with are like an attorney, and you could almost see the client starting to mouth the word banker, and then they get caught up because they can't figure out who's the C, and I say CPA. Funny thing is, I just had this conversation with a group of advisors from the UK this morning. And of course, they use different terminology for those same 3, but they loved it. And basically what you're doing is you're reverse engineering. Instead of asking a client for their family, friends, and coworkers, you're asking for the key advisors that might give you those veterans or those different people, but you do it in a way that you're finding out who they work for.
Right. Yeah, because that was, I know attorney things, I've seen that come flash up a lot with, because unfortunately, you understand, people get divorced, and I guess that's probably the part that I, hate the most, when my client calls me and said, hey, we're getting a divorce. And I've got one recently said that, because you build these relationships with them, and then all of a sudden,
Right.
Those are the big sides.
yeah, but that's a good thing. Yeah. I've never, I used to do banking, and I never even, I guess you're right. I never even thought about that, because there's so much that I get from, from SOIs, people that just refer, just somebody called me, hey, you took care of my, family member, and they, gave me your number. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I've never even thought about it at one point, but never did it. Because I know, like, probate and all, just asking those questions, I just never did, because I just stayed so busy doing other things that never even came about. Because I think you do have a great relationship, especially if you have a great, attorney that you build a relationship, and banker. And I'm not as, I'm social, but I don't do a lot of, how you put it, outside things, even like my husband's a pastor. You won't see me. I probably won't be one that would be, which I don't do, that's sitting in the, saying, hey, I'm the pastor's wife. They aware of what I do. And if somebody wants to work with me, they can come to me, because I don't want to be a conflict,
Gotcha.
of
Right, but
interest.
see,
And I think even for me being in the military, I was very, and when I say this, even with being in the military, because my husband was a chaplain. So it wasn't something that, if someone conversated with me and asked me what I did, those, how I ended up interacting with people. But it was not, or, somebody asks a question about, hey, does anybody know a real estate
Gotcha,
agent
gotcha.
there?
Anyway,
Because I didn't want it to be a conflict, which in some cases it could be a, great benefit, but even on my
Right.
groups that I'm in,
Right.
but I've never gone deeper into, that the ABC, because
Right.
those are kind of my
Well, again,
favorite, because I love banking, and prior to even doing that, my job, I wanted to work in the accounting field, and that's what my husband kind of did in the military at one point. He was over all of the chapels, all of the financing of all the chapels.
right. Well, what I'm suggesting is you might want to look at either those 3, or you might want to
Yeah.
look at your favorite 3, and just literally start with somebody that you already have a good connection. I'm not going to tell you the whole story. Vincent just heard a little bit of this with the present, and it wasn't a planned presentation. It was really more of a Q&A, because the meeting I was on today, it was our first meeting of many to come, and we were just kind of introducing each other and our backgrounds. And there were 5 of us, and then the moderator happens to be a business coach that all 5 of us use. And I got about 5-6 minutes into my information, and a couple of people started asking me questions. And then the moderator, business coach, asked, because he knew some of the things I was already talking about from our coaching calls. So he then kind of put it into specific language that they might use in their world in the UK. And when I answered a couple of their questions, they really jumped all over it. And two of them had, wealthier clients. I didn't ask for age or amounts of money, but when they say they're working with wealthy clients and they know, their extended family and things like that, I said, well, have you ever thought about doing that? You probably have the information about their accountant, their banker, and their lawyer. And of course, they both responded, yeah, we got that. And I said, well, what if you went back to the hypothetical Mr. Smith or Mrs. Jones and you said, which one of these three people would you like to introduce me to? Who's your favorite? And literally let them tell you the attorney, banker, or CPA. Maybe ask a question or two. Do you know them personally? Maybe they're from the same church, the same college. They live in the same neighborhood, go to the same golf club. You'll be pleasantly surprised when you then are asking someone that you already know and have a good relationship with to introduce you to somebody.
Mhm.
But you phrase it, don't give me a referral. I'd like to find what's the best way for you to introduce me to that person. Do you work better face to face or on a virtual meeting, or should we just do a phone call? What's best for you, Mrs. Client?
Yeah.
What's really funny is they pick up on it real quick, especially when they say, well, let me give you his name and card. I've got a bunch of them in my purse or my wallet. Say, no, I don't want that. And I even bring it back to them. And I said, what if that same banker would have given me your cards and told me to call you? Would you like me to just call you out of the blue? And they are, no. I said, so that I won't get any luck with the banker. So, do you prefer meeting in person? And it'll just blow your mind at how they will introduce you to people. Again, not 50 people. You're just looking for one.
Yeah.
It's a neat approach. I've been doing that, like I said, for at least 32 years. Prior to getting into this life, I was very active with major fundraising campaigns and capital campaigns. And that's really where I learned how to work with wealthy clients, not because they were my clients, because I was representing the nonprofit and I was showing the large donor and their advisors. And generally speaking, the two or three advisors that seemed to always come to the first meeting was the lawyer, the CPA, and the banker. And it was that collaborative group of donors and advisors that ultimately said, Michael, what are you doing here? Why don't you get into other industries? So that's how I made the switch.
Wow. So are you a part of Network Club then? Because I know most of the networks, they won't even start unless they have, attorney, a realtor. There's certain things that start up
Yeah. As a matter of fact, decades ago, I joined a relatively new organization, which that was 1992, and worked with them for 20 years, but they've grown significantly. You probably have heard of them, called BNI.
Yep. That's what I was thinking. Have you been to BNI? Yeah.
And I just joined a virtual group in January, and it is unbelievable. But now I literally have access through almost 300 members across the world in 70 different countries. Obviously, my business doesn't need to get to people in 70 countries right now.
Right.
But I'm finding it funny that since I had that morning talk in the UK, I've had this conversation 5 times with various people, and it was never a part of the agenda for this meeting or my recent phone call with Vincent or other folks, but it's just funny. So maybe I might be doing business outside of the US.
Well, there's a lot of opportunity. I just came back from, well, we went kind of on a mission, but when I was there, I went to Rwanda, and I am a passionate advocate, latte coffee lover. And so
Okay.
I was so impressed because I went to a coffee shop and it was ran by women, it was owned by women, they did the farming, and I was like, my mind's like click, 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 click. I'm like, oh God.
Nice.
Sometimes it's good to get in your patch, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And now my husband mentioned to me, well, so and so wants us to come back down. Maybe you can look at, that opportunity. And I was like, wow. So but that's one of my passions, coffee.
Yeah, very good.
And so you never know what other opportunities, because once again, too, depending on where it is, your money stretch wider than it could somewhere else. And
Oh,
also,
that's definitely true.
and to me, I look at it in a different perspective. I get money so I can get more to give more. And so
Right.
sometimes it opens opportunity for you. Like, I have a girl that does my social media. She's in, the Philippines. It's not costing me, but I'm providing somebody else an opportunity. And, I'm
Right.
not, but that's how I see those opportunities. It's like, you get wealth so that you can
Right.
pass on. And so looking at that, and that might be something for you when you look at abroad, the opportunities that you can affect and do
Yeah.
and
Hey, I've got a great organization for you. Have you ever heard of the Episcopal Church?
oh yeah.
Okay. Well, the Episcopal faith worldwide does unique programs with third world countries, and specifically with countries that are dominated by women who run the families. So it might be that I don't know all the countries, but it might be that coffee shop you were talking about was getting resources outside of their country from other missions, religious organizations, nonprofits. And it's funny that on this one particular grant, let's call it $1,000. It wasn't big, it wasn't like 10,000 or 100,000. Let's call it $1,000. In their country, it was almost 5 times the amount of money that they would ever think they could even see.
Cool.
So with that $1,000 gift, they were given a number of different physical resources, resources of all types for them to start a business.
I agree, because we were looking, Rwanda is probably progressed since genocide, but it was amazing how they would have programs. I guess some of those countries think totally different than we do, meaning they don't have the opportunity to have jobs, so they make jobs. So they are just their business, they're entrepreneurs. Anything, if it means, growing a garden and then go sell it, where we don't think, some of us don't think that in the US, but that's how they think. And so they had a program where they were teaching young teen moms, the ability to sew. And they go through this 10 months, they sew, and then they go out, and make a living. And so there was a few girls in there that were about to graduate, and we just felt glad, because they were saving their money to get a sewing machine, because they knew that sewing machine was an empowerment for them to start a business. And so there was 3 of us, 3 girls that were left, and we looked, and all my mind was like thinking, I need to find out how much it costs to get a sewing machine. And so afterwards, we went back and we asked, the mother of the mission, what will it take to, buy these girls a sewing machine? And when she told me, I was like, it was like, that's a no-brainer. I spend that much on coffee. And so when we brought them back, because there were other girls, but we just wanted to deal with those that were graduating. And we said, we would like to bless you girls. It was funny. It was 150, but there was 3 of them. And it was funny. My brother kept saying, oh, you need to bring $100 crispy. dollar bill when you go to this country because someone won't take it. And I was like, okay, so we all had these 100 because we all did our Zoom meeting preparing. And when she said 150, we immediately said, okay, bring those girls back here. And they literally was on the floor crying. And I thought, just for me, I buy coffee every day. Now, I went to Starbucks today and I was like, well, did they go up on prices? Because it was like
Right.
over $8 just for a medium. So you figure I don't go a day without a latte, but to be able to empower some young woman. And so
Sure.
in the back of my mind, we're thinking that same thing. Okay, how do we continue this on? And just like you're saying, telling a friend about what was going on, she immediately like, oh, I want to bless. Here, Deborah, I'm sending this to you so that you can send it to them. And just those little things, that you just don't even, they're insignificant maybe to us, but the
Right.
empowerment that it brings to somebody
Right.
else. I mean, $300 was able to allow these two girls to, build a business. And I could tell they could sew because the girl
Right.
came in there with an outfit on and I was like, oh, that's a nice outfit. And to hear her testimony. And I think
Right.
that was a significant part.
Yeah, I
And so
think
that shifted my mindset too on understanding.
right.
the
As a matter of
importance.
fact, I think there was something like that at the last church that we were involved with before we moved. There was a program like that where they were making hats or making some item that for them was very easy, to make from, the wool, everything they did. And yet it was very inexpensive. And, members of our church were buying them. And then a young couple, like in their mid-20s, met at college, got married, and basically started a business where they were hiring the people of that country to make the product. They were selling it globally, and the profits were going back to the women. And I think they started with 3 and they ended up like 2 years later with like 22 or 24 women. And they
Wow.
were just, it was just an unbelievable resource. And then because it got so big, they did not want it to be a full-time job for them. They ended up hiring younger people here in this country to basically be the managers. So it was a phenomenal experience for everyone. But it was just basic, purse, hat, shawl, things that were, and of course the colors were very bright, and very, very attractive. But you literally, we watched like a 15-minute film that literally showed them going through the entire process of how they make it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it was a wild experience. And then, when things like that happen, not only does that bring a tear and emotion to your eye, but you're like, nobody needed to ask for money. It was more, how do you want to participate? And so it was kind of a neat. And then the two young people were the ones presenting it, and they announced at the end of the first meeting that they were forming a business, and I actually helped them with getting a lawyer and a CPA to help them put everything in place. And then we had a nonprofit help them with the international business. So it ended up being 2 companies. It ended up being like a parent company, let's call it an LLC, and then a nonprofit. So yeah, kind of fun. Listen, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk.
I know
all the
we
time
just
here.
started talking and Mr.
Yeah,
Mike.
Vincent, I need to get going, but Deborah, if it's not any problem for you, I would not mind if Vincent gave you my contact information. Love to catch up with you and
Yeah, vice versa, because you just,
continue to help
He knows a
both
thing
you
or
and Vincent. But,
Yeah, by for
and,
both.
and again, Vincent, I'm looking forward to getting the tape so I can hear it at regular speed and, because it was just downright funny. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm glad
yeah,
not a
I
half
looked at
hour.
it. I was like, okay, because I knew I was coming in late, so I thought I'm sitting here thinking it's something wrong with mine, but I realized that's why I sent the chat message and I just directly messaged him. So,
Okay.
well,
So
it's
sorry
just
about that, guys.
Well, I'm actively learning all those technology skills, so I'll just leave
I'm
it
with
at that. Won't give you all of my
I'm with you, Mike. I don't know him either. Yeah, I'm over. Yeah, the only thing keeps me up is because I still have millennials that are my
Oh, you
kids.
mean in your family?
Huh? I have
You
four
mean in your
kids.
family?
I have 4 kids and 3 grandkids.
My gosh, you've been busy. You don't look
Yep.
that old.
Oh yeah,
Did
yeah.
you start when you were 9?
No, really, I didn't really. You know what it is? I always tell everybody my mom must got great genes because really I'm like 61 years old. We just my mother just had great genes. So when people I like when I'm like, oh, I remember that. Yeah, I'm a 1962.
So your husband robbed the cradle, huh?
No, not really. He's a little well, he is a little bit younger, but I always tease him because of the way I look. I said, you're younger, but I'm older. So I got him maybe about 5 years, but really I got about 5 years, but you know, and actually I didn't even get married till I was older. My youngest is 22. So
Wow,
all the way up
congratulations.
to yeah, 35. So
Well, like I said, I'd love to talk to you more and give you some more information about how to get
yes.
referrals without asking and find out more about your favorite 3 clients and the different advisors that you would love to work with. Again, just because I use ABCs doesn't mean you have to use those same people, but I'll show you how you can work with one that might turn into 3 or 5 more. And it'll just blow your mind with how, because obviously just from your personality and your activity, you're doing good things. But when you start doing good things with people who really appreciate you, um, it it will start working for you very well.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah. Yeah, I have one like that. She's just been my bread and butter. She moves to Panama, but she was like, I mean, she even now she's trying to get me to go down to Panama, but I'm like, she would definitely been my one of my number one top. I didn't even have to ask her. It was like she was automatically when I we would do book clubs. Do y'all know this is the best realtor in the world? But she was my mouthpiece. So she's still in my mouthpiece, but during COVID, I mean, she just was throwing clients, my way because I actually just met her, did a rental from her, and I mean, she's a great businesswoman, but we developed a relationship, helped her get a bit, get a spot for her business, and from there it just, and then too, like I said, I do Buffini, so I believe in just dropping by, communicating with, clients and
Right,
making myself known before them. And
right.
sometimes that's fun to me because I take now, a whole week just to focus on, stopping by. And I am amazed how I see my, clients, and I call them family, from when they babies maybe were, just born to now, like,
Right, right.
okay, I feel old.
Well,
um,
here's the really fun part about this system that I use, because I constantly am giving it away. But the best thing you can do for that friend that you just mentioned is, as you start using this system and it works for you, and you mentioned she's a business owner, then start to show her how she can use it, and then you help her.
yeah, yeah,
It,
because she's a
it's just amazing how it grows. And
yeah, 'cause she's
uh, but
she's one of those, everything she seemed to touch, because I'm like sitting on Facebook and watching her you know, the things
Right.
she's doing in Panama.
Right.
But
Well, listen,
I know you got,
I'm sorry, I gotta rush
I
out.
will go.
I'm
Vince,
gonna
I'll let you
certainly-
go. Vince, I will, well, okay, Vince, if you want to stay on for a minute, because I can give you an update on Latanya.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right, Vincent, thank you very much for everything. Deborah, nice chatting with you. I
Nice
look
meeting
forward to-
you, and I'll tell him to give you my number. You're,
All
you
right, very good.
permission. Vince, you can give Mike my number.
Sounds good.
All right.
And Mike, can I share your number with Deborah too?
Yeah, you can just give the name